After the exciting smartphone announcements at this year's MWC, you may feel the itch to upgrade to one of the new flagships that were presented there. Either that, or you may be considering buying one of last year's top models, as their prices drop across retailers. The Galaxy S7 is very comfortable to hold thanks to the arched corners in the back and the softer edges all around. The device just feels airtight and very solid, probably thanks to its IP68 rating for dust and water resistance. Unfortunately, as can be expected, one major downfall is that its glass back does not stay beautiful for long, since it's a fingerprint magnet, and you will either want to wipe it often or just slap a case or cover on it. The LG G4 took another route to get its classy looks. Instead of relying on a metal design, LG gave the G4 optional genuine leather-clad back covers. The phone also has a slight curve to it, though it is much less pronounced than what we've seen with the G Flex or G Flex 2. The G4 sits somewhat comfortably in the palm, but its 5.5-inch display does demand us to stretch or use two hands from time to time. It's still relatively easy to handle considering the screen size, but definitely feels clunkier when compared to the Galaxy S7. The G4 also lacks a major feature which is currently pretty popular and present on almost any flagship: the fingerprint scanner. On the Galaxy S7, the biometric sensor is found on the home button on the front, and we found it to be fast and reliable. Samsung's Super AMOLED panels have been getting better and better for the past couple of years and are at their best with the Galaxy S7 and Galaxy S7 Edge. Accurate colors, clear picture, and of course a very crisp and detailed image thanks to the 1440 by 2560 pixel resolution on the 5.1-inch display. The G4 has a 5.5-inch Quantum IPS display with the same crisp resolution, but has a coldish picture and is consistently inaccurate with its colors, missing every target on the sRGB color space and presenting us with oversaturated reds and greens. Both interfaces have features like split screen or side-by-side apps. Both give the user the ability to rearrange the quick toggles inside the notifications shade, and both have a briefing app on the leftmost home screen. Samsung and LG are famous for packing lots of features in their interfaces, and the Galaxy S7 and G4 make no exception. Still, there are some differences between both UIs. LG's UX4 makes use of the virtual navigation buttons at the bottom of the screen, lets us handpick app icons, has the so-called Q-Slide apps, which are small apps that launch in floating Windows mode for multitasking purposes, or Q-Remote feature, an app that uses the phone's IR blaster to control various household devices, TVs, air conditioners, etc. Samsung's Galaxy S7 looks a bit simpler at first, with no mini apps, no IR blaster, and no ability to change the appearance of single items on the home screen. But we feel this is a good thing. TouchWiz still has deeper layers of functions if one were to look, but on the surface the interface looks solid and easy to grasp. It's just better when basic operation is streamlined and extra features don't just pop up constantly to distract us from what we were doing in the first place. Also, customizability is much more intelligible thanks to Samsung's theme store. Naturally, there's little competition when it comes to performance. Not only is the G4 rocking last year's hardware, it is also equipped with a hexa-core Qualcomm Snapdragon 808, which was a notch lower in the pecking order than the flagship Snapdragon 810. The Galaxy S7 rocks the newest quad-core Qualcomm Snapdragon 820, which was developed in partnership with Samsung itself. For non-US units, the processor is an octa-core Samsung-made Exynos 8890. In any case, both variants of the S7 outperform the G4 with ease. Other components also help Samsung's flagship shine with speed. The UFS 2.0 internal storage chip is blazing fast, and the Galaxy S7 does have a generous 4GB of LPDDR4 RAM, while the G4 has 3GB of the older and slower LPDDR3 variety. Both handsets come with 32GB of internal storage, expandable via microSD card, though if you are buying an international variant of the Galaxy S7, you can also get a 64GB storage variant. With the Galaxy S7, Samsung worked towards improving the camera even further, widening the lens and aperture and outfitting the sensor with larger pixels. What this means is that we get more light entering the sensor when taking a photo, which helps for better low-light performance and generally less shaky shots, as the shutter speeds can get shortened in any situation. The camera has picked up a yellowish tint along with all those upgrades, but the superior detail, overall color reproduction and less grain is worth it in our opinion. The G4 had a great camera when it launched back in 2015 and it's still a great camera now. It's also a good performer in dark environments and among the best snappers when conditions are ideal. It does tend to produce a bit more grain than the Galaxy S7 and will sometimes fail when taking a challenging shot, so it's just a notch less reliable. In the Galaxy S7, Samsung incorporated a new autofocus tech, which it calls dual pixels. Basically, the phone is able to find, lock onto and follow objects very fast and accurate. The LG G4's laser-assisted autofocus is still good enough, but it definitely feels like yesterday's tech when compared to Samsung's solution. Both handsets have very elaborate camera apps with manual mode present in each case. Both will give the user control over shutter speed, color temperature, focus and ISO for those who want to tinker with their shots. Turning to video, both smartphones are capable of taking pretty satisfactory clips. The Galaxy S7 can do 1080p at 60 fps, while the G4 can reach 60 fps only if you drop the resolution down to 720p. We also have the now flagship mandatory 4K UHD video capture at 30 fps mode with both phones, and the results with it, as with most other shooting modes, are top-notch. Both lasted a little bit over 6 hours in our battery life test, and in real-life use we can say they can last just about a day if we don't go over the top with their usage. Now, the Galaxy S7 does have the benefit of having integrated wireless charging, so if you outfit your workplaces with a couple of cheap pads and visit coffee shops that have pads on their tables, you should easily be able to abuse the S7 without fear of running out of juice. The G4, on the other hand, has the benefit of a removable battery, so you can carry a spare on you if you tend to run dry often. It's clear that the Galaxy S7 wins this competition with ease, but hey, the G4 is 12 months older. If you're not chasing the most powerful, bleeding-edge hardware out there, you can easily grab LG's last year's flagship for about $300 to $350. For that price, you still get a device that looks pretty unique, runs well and has a great camera. The Galaxy S7, on the other hand, will set you back around $650 and sure, is justified considering you will get the best performance on an available Android smartphone, very shiny looks, a slightly better camera and a display that stomps over the G4's IPS panel.